Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a personal project that I am calling panoramic stitching without the stitching. If you like shooting panoramic images but don't enjoy stitching them all together back at the computer, then this might be the video for you, as all of the images shared in this video were captured in camera. Stick around to find out how. Hello and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be sharing another one of my personal projects. Today we're going to be talking about anamorphic lenses. Now, if you followed my channel for a while now, you'll know that I've been experimenting with anamorphic lenses for a couple of years now, but up until this point, just for video. Now, I am using them for stills. Before we delve into the detail of what this anamorphic project is all about, how you can achieve similar results, let me show you some example images. Now, taking a step back, you might ask, what is anamorphic? Quite simply, it is a wider perspective than a typical lens would provide. The optics in these lenses are really weird. The lens elements are just not round. It's very, very odd. So there are a few consequences that you get when you use anamorphic lenses, and some people like them and some people don't like them, but they've become strong characteristics of the cinema and movies. So hopefully as soon as you've watched this video, you'll recognize what anamorphic lenses do to an image, whether that's a still photograph or a video. And next time you're sitting on your sofa watching a movie, you'll think, I know what Ben said. Look, this is shot on anamorphic. The Alien movies, anamorphic. Star Wars, some of them, anamorphic. Indiana Jones movies, anamorphic. There are so many legendary movies that have been shot on anamorphic. Just to be clear, this is not the same as using a wide angle lens, because if you did use a wide angle lens, you would get more vertically as well. Let me show you a spherical 75mm lens and then an anamorphic. As you can see, this image looks pretty normal. The background is nice and soft. There is nothing that sticks out as being different. Note that the width of the frame just about fits in the uprights on the handrail, and the railway line in the background disappears off the edge of the frame. Then we switch to the 75mm anamorphic lens, where I'm pretty much the same size in the frame, but massively distorted straight out of camera. Let's fix that by de-squeezing the image, and now you can see a dramatic difference in the amount of the scene that we can see. The railway line in the background goes behind a block of flats, and you can see a whole load more of the handrail that I'm holding onto. But the amount of sky above my head remains the same, and it still cuts me off at the knees. Putting the two side by side really emphasises the difference, and hopefully you can see some of the characteristics of the anamorphic lens, which I'll discuss in more detail in a second. Now, although I did start this project in the middle of Christmas, this is not a Christmas project and it doesn't rely upon out of focus lights in the background. Although they do look good, this is definitely for multiple genres. Now, some of the defects, but you could also consider them to be character points of an anamorphic lens. First of all, you get an oval bokeh because you're taking an image and you're distorting it when you're editing it. The round out of focus lights in the background become oval. That is one of the strong characteristics of an anamorphic lens. Secondly, you get a lot of barrel distortion because you're kind of pushing the limits of optical design. Sometimes anything that is vertical or straight towards the edges of the frame will become distorted. Typically in lens design nowadays, you don't want that. But with anamorphic lenses, people love it and they seem to leave it in. And let's not forget, you get lens flares. Now, the lenses that I've purchased have blue lens flares, you can get neutral lens flares, and you can also get gold lens flares. And I was watching Indiana Jones the other day, and they mixed both blue and gold lens flares in the same movie. The smaller the light source, the easier it is to get flares. It is, again, one of those characteristics that if you're watching a movie shot on anamorphic and you'll just see some lens flares, they might be subtle, they might be very aggressive, but you know you're watching a movie that's shot on anamorphic. Now straight out of camera, the image is going to be very stretched. This is exactly what it looks like because I'm using a regular camera. And then quite simply in post-processing, you de-squeeze it, you remedy the optical distortions. These lenses that I'm using by Sirui, they are 1.33 times, which means that they are 33% wider than they are vertical. Now there are a few companies out there that make anamorphic lenses. I chose to spend my own money on lenses made by Sirui, and rather than buying them brand new, I bought them second hand from MPB, and they are like brand new. These particular lenses are meant for APS-C, however I'm shooting on a full frame camera and you just have to crop in a little bit and it gets rid of the vignette. Now Sirui make a variety of anamorphic lenses. These are all 1.33 times, but they also make 1.6 times and 1.8 times. Quite simply, the higher the number, the wider the image gets. Going to the cinema doesn't make any difference. The bigger, the wider, the better. However, if you're making content to show on people's mobile phones, a 1.8 squeeze is going to be a slither of an image in the middle of their screen. So if you want my advice, the cheapest route into shooting anamorphic is to get APS-C lenses and then look for companies such as Sirui because they're really quite cost effective. And even cheaper than that is buying them second hand from MPB. Not sponsored. Now, up until this point, anamorphic lenses have been very much manual focus. They're very difficult. Filming yourself with a longer focal length, trying to get yourself in focus is not easy at all. However, just recently, companies such as Sirui and Blazer have started making autofocus anamorphic lenses. I think that is kind of their first attempt, so hopefully they're going to get better, but I am excited about the future of budget anamorphic lenses. If you're just using anamorphic lenses for shooting stills, this is not going to be as much of an issue, but if you intend on making video, take into consideration most anamorphic lenses are manual focus. Now some of you might be thinking, well, I could just use my regular camera, my regular lens, take a photograph and then I could just crop it at the top and the bottom. Yeah, you could do, but that is not the same. Couple of things, you're going to lose resolution by doing that because you're just chopping off pixels. Secondly, about composition, because if I were to frame up this shot here without an anamorphic lens and think, okay, I'll just put some black bars at the top and the bottom, make it look cinematic, then I would chop the top of my head off and the bottom of my feet off, and that is not what I want. By using anamorphic lenses or doing a project like this where you're seeing the results in camera, that's what you want. This project is like doing panoramic stitching just without the stitching. That's what this is. The ideal situation would be really, really high resolution camera and a 1.8 squeeze, sharp anamorphic lens, and you would get extremely wide panos in camera, no cropping. That would be the dream. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and buy anamorphic lenses just to have a go at this project, but if you do already own an anamorphic lens, like me, you've probably just been using it for video because that's what everybody else does. But I was shooting video with it thinking, why the hell am I not shooting stills with this? Is it because the lenses are no good? Is it because the manual focus? And I just thought maybe there's an opportunity here for a personal project that nobody's ever done before. Or at least I've never seen somebody else using anamorphic lenses for stills. And what I've realised is taking some photographs of my kids using anamorphic lenses just for a bit of fun, they look different, there's no doubt about that. And it kind of looks like a still from a movie rather than a photograph, if that makes sense. It's just a different perspective. I hope you've enjoyed this behind the scenes of my personal project, and maybe I've given you a bit of inspiration to try something similar yourself. If you've enjoyed this video, then you'll probably like this one next. It's another personal project. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.